Now at 6, Pittsburgh mourns for the teen who died after he was found unresponsive in the YMCA pool. Missouri's governor signs a bill concerning transgender athletes in school sports.
What you need to know about repaying your student loans. I'm Anthony Saviello with that story.
And Joplin hosts the 2023 Missouri Preservation Conference, how a local aims to restore neglected cemeteries in the area.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Pittsburgh mourns the death of a teenager as authorities release the name now of the man who was found unresponsive in the Pittsburgh YMCA pool yesterday. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. That man is 19-year-old Caden Barber. Caden graduated from Pittsburgh High School in 2022. During his time at PHS, Caden was a standout athlete, excelling on both the football field and on the wrestling mat. Emergency responders were called to the Y around 7:50 a.m. yesterday. That's where they found Caden unresponsive in the pool. He was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. His family says he'd been doing water training in preparation for going to the Navy. While police do not suspect foul play, Caden's death is still under investigation. A single car crash in Montgomery County, Kansas claims the life of a teenager. That crash happened last night on Country Road 4300, about 2 miles north of US 166. Authorities say 18-year-old Mackenzie Kendall was driving south when her car crossed the center line, overcorrected, and went off the road, hitting a metal fence. She died at the hospital. There were 2 other passengers in the car who were not injured. Warm, borderline hot out there. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, once again for us today, high temps right about 90 degrees as we have worked into the afternoon. We've had those puffy cumulus clouds and a few isolated little thunderstorms have popped up, especially on the Missouri side, very similar to what we have seen over the past couple days. Very hit and miss, but you can see a couple little guys, one just to the west of Lamar, just south of Lamar, right on the interstate of I-49. Again, very isolated. As we go through the evening hours, most of you will end up staying dry. Look at the temps, upper 80s to near 90 degrees, so it is hot across the region. As we go through the evening hours, we're going to slide back through the 80s, 70s, eventually into the middle 60s. Any thunderstorms that are out there, those are going to dissipate as we go through the next few hours. Now, thunderstorm chances increase a bit over the next few days. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
See you soon. Transgender minors and some adults in Missouri will soon be banned from accessing puberty blockers, hormones, and gender-affirming surgeries. Governor Mike Parson signed the bill today. Beginning on August 28th, Missouri healthcare providers will not be able to prescribe those gender-affirming treatments for teens and children. Most adults will still have access to transgender healthcare under the law, but Medicaid won't cover it. Gender-affirming surgeries for inmates and prisoners will also be outlawed. The law is set to expire in 2027. Governor Parson also signed a bill prohibiting educational institutions from allowing biological male students from participating on sports teams designated for biological females. The law applies to elementary, secondary, and post-secondary education institutions. That includes private schools, public schools, charter schools, and colleges and universities. A Missouri Southern student is one of the thousands of people around our nation navigating how to repay student loans after graduation. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has that story.
This past week, the U.S. narrowly avoided defaulting on its debt. While the country can rest easy, those who have student debt now have to avoid defaulting themselves. I asked Sharon Fraser at the Missouri Southern Financial Aid Office what students can do to avoid this.
Right now is the time for you to log into your loan servicer, make sure that your address, all the contact information is correct, and just so that you can determine what repayment plan you want or that you're able to pay.
But how do the students feel? Sierra West is a student employee at the Spiva Library on campus, where she is surrounded by one of the things she loves most, books. Sierra said she enjoys her job, but graduation is only a semester away, which means her last day at the library is too. making the thought of paying student loans all the more worrisome.
That debt will just keep amounting, and I know from personal experience that it's always there in the back of your mind. Even if you try not to think about it, it has influence on you, because money is just one of those things that you're always going to worry about.
Sierra has worked hard to try and make sure she is able to come out of college in as little debt as possible. But what about students who are worried that the Biden debt forgiveness plan won't pass?
My first thing I would say, don't panic. Just don't panic about it. Contact your loan servicer, look into those repayment options, and just do the best you can.
So in an unsure time where your debt hangs in the balance, you may want to make some preparations. Reporting from Joplin, I'm Anthony Saviello.
Student loan repayments could begin 60 days after the Supreme Court makes its decision on the Biden-Harris forgiveness plan. Students are encouraged to get in contact with financial aid offices and loan servicers to figure out a plan. Sports director Jacob Leonard joins us now with a first look at sports.
Well, it's one of my favorite stories of my career here. A former Columbus High School standout earns a chance to suit up for one of the best college basketball teams in the country. Patrick Cassidy has spent the last 2 years as a manager for the Kansas Jayhawks, but after a couple years of hard work, he's going from manager to a walk-on player for KU. We caught up with him earlier today to talk about the opportunity to play for Bill Self and the Jayhawks. We'll have that story and more coming up here in just a little bit.
See you then. Still ahead, a local woman shares her passion for restoring old cemeteries. Plus, details of a utility change for the people of Oronogo. The 2023 Missouri Preservation Conference got underway today in Joplin. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to one speaker who's advocating for the preservation of local cemeteries.
Bringing back life into a cemetery can be challenging, especially without the help of funding. One speaker at the Missouri Preservation Conference was showing off her progress in restoring local cemeteries.
Our state law does not provide a tax base for us to be able to provide services for cemeteries in terms of maintenance and that kind of thing.
Ricky's passion for preserving local cemeteries was sparked 5 years ago after she realized that multiple generations of her family were laid to rest in a decaying cemetery. Since then, Ricky became the president of the Jasper County Preservation Society.
It's really about building a group of people that are really passionate about the cemetery and then bringing some resources to bear. It might be things like learning how to repair headstones or clean them, mowing and maintenance of the grounds. There are a lot of things that go into cemetery preservation.
Ricky knows a thing or two about preserving cemeteries. Her and some volunteers has been restoring Cox Cemetery for a little over a year now, which is also the final resting place for one of Joplin's founding fathers.
So our cemeteries are really a place where the people who came before us rest. And if we don't preserve them, we will lose them.
Jasper County isn't the only county with decaying cemeteries. The entire state has dozens of abandoned cemeteries. Ricky believes through her preservation efforts, things might change.
It's been a lot of work, but it's very much worth it. And so 1 year later, we've got a huge difference in being able to access the property, but also the maintenance there.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
The 2023 Missouri Preservation Conference continues through Friday. A new natural gas provider comes to Oronogo, Missouri this month. The city's utilities will transition to Spire on June 22nd. Current natural gas customers will continue to receive service at their homes and businesses with no interruption during that transition. A little later, a former Columbus High School basketball standout is walking on for the Kansas Jayhawks.
Plus, thunderstorm chances continue to increase over the next few days. We're going to check that out coming up. Well, of course, it turned out to be a hot one for us today. Temperatures right around 90 degrees once again, very similar to what we've seen so far this week. The puffy little cumulus clouds popping up this afternoon across the region, and even a few isolated little thunderstorms, and that's what we're going to see as we go through the evening hours. Also, if you've noticed, a lot of smoke in the atmosphere over the past few days. That's why it's been hazy looking, and the sun sets, the sun looks a little reddish. Of course, the farther east you track, That's where it gets really bad once you get down through parts of Tennessee and all the way up the eastern seaboard. But if we go through the next 24 hours, so we're going to go into Thursday, you can see it starts to break down just a little bit across the region. So at least our air quality will get a little bit better as we go into the daytime hours for us tomorrow. Temperatures, they're up there. Most of us across the board, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. But here's the good news. Look at our humidity. It's not that bad. Our dew points, upper 50s to near 60. So if we look at our tracker, that puts us in that pleasant to not bad range. Once we get into the summer, you don't want to get into that sticky, muggy, or soupy range. So at least the humidity has been pretty good. Outside, actually see a little thunderstorm building. 88 westerly winds, light at about 5 miles per hour. We'll drop back through the 80s, 70s, eventually into the mid 60s. Most of us are dry, but we do have a few isolated little guys that have popped up mainly in southwestern parts of Missouri, so that on the tower cam we were looking at these guys just south of Liberal. Here's Lamar, so right about Jasper, so just north of Carthage. These are dropping some heavy amounts of rain, but again, just very isolated. Most of us will stay dry, but you can see the clouds across central Missouri. This is actually a cold front that is backing in to the region. That will be a focus mechanism to at least give us scattered thunderstorms as we go into Thursday afternoon. All right, let's step through the next 48 hours for you. Look at the front, slides in. So here's 7:30 in the morning. A few isolated storms on the Missouri side. Most of us dry in the morning. Look at the front, continues to back into Kansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. As we get into the afternoon, we're going to have scattered storms across the region, a little bit more numerous than what we are seeing today. Temperatures mainly into the mid 80s. Tomorrow night, once we lose the heating of the day, thunderstorms die off. And then Friday, because the front hangs in our western counties, we get pop-up thunderstorms again as we go into Friday afternoon. So hit and miss over the next couple days. Day planner for you tomorrow. We do warm into the 80s once again. And our thunderstorm chances, these are really going to start to increase as we head into the weekend. It looks like a big complex of thunderstorms could drive in Saturday morning. Then watch this. Once we get into Saturday night, a cold front slides in, so this could give us the potential for some stronger storms and also some widespread rain as we go into the weekend. All right, 87 tomorrow, 85 Friday. Hold into the mid 80s over the weekend. Pretty good chances for scattered thunderstorms. We dry out, we cool down early next week. Thunderstorms next Tuesday, Wednesday. Those could be strong, possibly severe. And then look at this, mid 90s by next weekend.
And pretty steamy by then, I imagine, because the ground might be
humidity
wet.
will start to kick
Oh, my
in.
goodness. Here comes summer.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Doug. Still ahead, the Joplin Outlaws hit the road to Sedalia for their first road game of the summer, and how a former Columbus High School basketball standout went on from team manager to walk-on for his final season in Lawrence. Jacob Leonard has that story and more up next.
Former Columbus High School standout Patrick Cassidy has spent the last 2 years as a manager for the KU men's basketball team. But now the former Titan has earned a chance to suit up for one of the best programs in the country, going from a team manager to a walk-on player in his final year in Lawrence.
Just a few years ago, Patrick Cassidy was a multi-sport standout for the Columbus Titans.
I never in a million years would have dreamed this. You know, it wasn't even a thought that this could even be possible whenever I was at Columbus.
After high school, Cassidy went to KU to study finance. He spent the last 2 years as a manager for the men's basketball team, getting a chance to be on the floor with some of the best players in the country.
My first year, I was kind of seeing glimpses of it, and then my second year, so last year, I was doing pretty good, and I was like, this is surprising, you know? Like I wasn't supposed to be doing what I was doing, and I was able to score the ball, and then I could defend a little bit too, and I was like, maybe I can keep up a little bit with these guys.
Then came a meeting with KU head coach Bill Self last month, when Cassidy learned that he would have the chance to go from manager to a walk-on player for the Jayhawks.
He just congratulated me and said I deserved it, and you know, it was surreal being in his office and getting that opportunity to talk to him like that, it was crazy. It was definitely a good feeling walking out of that office, and especially telling my parents, because they were so proud of me, and it meant everything.
Cassidy was an all-conference and all-state player for the Titans, leaving Columbus with more than 1,000 career points. He'll wear a different jersey for the first time since, but he's still playing for the same people who were behind him years ago in Southeast Kansas.
I just want to let the town of Columbus, the community of Columbus, know that no matter what I'm doing, always feel free to reach out. Always feel free to hit me up, because I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for Columbus. As long as I'm making my community and my family proud, that's really all I'm here to do. I hope my story can inspire other managers and other people that really feel like they're either too small, not good enough, just to keep working. I've already had a couple people reach out and saying hey, your story's inspired me to, keep pursuing my love for the game and trying to play in college. So really that's what I want to use myself for, is to show that no matter what you do, as long as you work hard, as long as you put your head down, you grind, then, anything's possible.
Cassidy will play just one season for Kansas. He plans to graduate with his bachelor's degree in finance next May before pursuing his master's degree. Now, it is the off-season, but busy couple weeks for the Pitt State women's basketball team. The Gorillas are hosting their annual high school team camp over the next 2 weeks. Between the two sessions, Pitt State will host more than 150 high school teams playing games in multiple gyms in the Pittsburgh area. We'll hear from the Gorilla women and some local teams participating in this week's session right here tonight at 10. Well, the Joplin Outlaws are off to a 2-0 start to their summer schedule. They beat Des Moines and St. Joe in their first 2 home games of the season. Tonight, the Outlaws are on the road for the first time, facing the Sedalia Bombers. The Bombers have already played 7 games. They are 3-4. First pitch for that one is at 7 o'clock. We'll have the latest from this one right here tonight at 10. So how about that story with Patrick Cassidy, manager for 2 years, and gets his chance to walk on for one of the best programs in the entire country.
Yeah, it was more than a dream. I think it was something that he didn't even think was possible, and boom, there it is.
Good for him. I know he's going to take advantage of it too.
For sure. We'll be right back. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. We're going to hear how the town of Nevada, Missouri is preparing for the 59th annual Bushwhacker Days. Plus, the Oklahoma Broadband Office stops by Miami to discuss the community's internet needs. Those stories and a whole lot more, of course, it's all coming up tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I don't know when very warm becomes hot. I think typically you say 90 degrees.
That's kind of what I think.
Okay, well, we've been flirting with that at least.
Right at 90 for us today. A hair cooler, so warm over the next few days. We are going to have some scattered thunderstorms for us tomorrow afternoon.
A lot of you know this already, but for those who don't, you deserve to know. Unfortunately, our good friend Jacob Leonard is going to be leaving us after tomorrow. I say unfortunately for us, but good for you because you're pursuing a new opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm going to go work for Pittsburgh State University in the athletics department, and it'll give me a chance to kind of be there for my son's games. He's getting into baseball and soccer and stuff like that, and obviously right now I'm out covering other people's kids, and so I'm not able to be there. So now I will be able to be there.
You're going to want to join us tomorrow at 6, 9, and 10 for a retrospective look at Jacob's career here. Thanks for joining us. See you right back here at 10. Let's make it a great evening.